Hello everyone, I'm Jim Lewis, founder of Model Train Technology. 5 years ago we started the business when we invented the first DCC light board for my Amtrak passenger train. This is a Kato brand passenger train, and I wanted a board that fit just right neatly inside, had a series of LEDs, had a DCC decoder, which allowed me to turn the lights on and off, adjust the brightness, as well as turn off red lights in the back of the train as appropriate. So that was great. And during this time, pretty regularly I've heard from DC people that have DC layouts, and we understand that a large number of our subscribers have DC only layouts. And so they've been asking us for a light board, and we just had the opportunity. We now have and are announcing today a new product, which is the DC light boards for N scale. This is the N144. It fits all of the Kato passenger cars and all standard size passenger cars really. And then the 124, which is shorter, which we would use in the baggage car over here. And that fits just very neatly. Now in this case I have a dome car here, and we added our dome board and connected up to the extra pads that are on the light board. So we lit the upper level, and we used, in this case, the 124 board, the short board, to light the lower section, so that fit in very well. On the observation car over here, we have another light board inside lighting the car, and then we're using pre-wired LEDs and fasten them up to the pads there. So this is with full power on, and it just looks really fantastic. So if your car is not a Kato brand, you may have wheel pickups, but if you don't, you can use our brass strips, and these wrap around the axles of the two trucks to give you the ability to bring power up into the car. There's a couple of videos on our YouTube channel on how to install these. It's worked great. We prefer those, customers prefer these over the wheel wipes, which are attached to the truck and have wheel metal pieces that push against the axle. The challenge there is that pressure against the axle, and you add that up to so many cars, creates a lot of drag. And whereas our floating brass just floats on the axle and doesn't put extra pressure or torque on it. And so it's a more efficient way and more reliable way to add power to it. And you just solder a small wire to each of these from both trucks and feed that up and connect to the board. These go along with our previously introduced DC boards for cabooses. This is the caboose board for HO scale, and this is the caboose board for N scale. Now I don't have a Hiawatha engine set up here, so what I'm going to do is going to use my Santa Fe F7. It's the only DC engine I have in the shop, and let's just make sure it's running. Yep, beautiful. And I'll just pull the trains around, and what I want to show you is at pretty low voltage whoops, got a missing. Let's see if we can get that. Let's back it up a little bit. There we go. Connect these guys up, and let's see how we do here. All right. So you can see at pretty low voltage the lights come on, and because we have the microprocessor, we can keep a constant lighting level regardless of how fast the trains go. So if I speed it up, the light brightness doesn't change in direct relationship with, whoops, I think I didn't have that quite on the track. Let's try that again. There we go. Live TV. So yes, so the lights just stay constant, and we were able to get them to light at a pretty slow pace. So that's one of the features. I think it just looks great. And so if you're a DC layout operator, then we now have a lighting board solution for you, and these are available now. The boards come in 4 different LED colors. They're all white, but they're variations of white. 2000 is the most yellow, sort of mild light. 3000 is pretty typical, and that's what we're using here. 5000 and 6500 are much more blue and fluorescent color. If that's the kind of vintage and car you have, those are available as well. So like I said, they're available now. You can go to our store and order them. And thank you very much. Appreciate your interest in our DC light boards. This is a brief tutorial on the DC light board. This is the 144 millimeter version. It just runs on DC, no DCC. I just have it connected to a simple transformer here. I've already set it. We're going to go through all of the paces, but as you add power, the lights will come on at about 4 volts. And from 4 to 5 volts or so, as the engine starts to move, the lights will come up, and then as fast as the train is going after that, the lights will stay at a constant brightness, and that's what you want. Now you can set that brightness, so it's actually pretty easy. We'll just leave it where it is. There's a little button here, and everything about setting this board is through the button. So the first thing we want to do is adjust the brightness. Now when you first power up the board, the direction of the brightness is going to be up when you push the button. And all you have to do is press and hold the button, and you can see that the lights are getting brighter. And I release it, and that value is saved. So no matter what we do with the lights, bring all the power down, train stops, and then we bring the lights back on, it's going to be that constant brightness. It's probably too bright. So what we're going to do on subsequent well, I turned the power off, so on subsequent pushes, just holding that, you can see that the lights are going down. Now I'm not going to turn it off this time, because once I press the button again, the lights will go up, and I press the button again, and the lights will go down. So very simple. Now there's a red LED on the back here, and there are pads where you can connect your own LEDs. If you're going to do that, then you want to disconnect this little solder blob here, and I'll bring it up to the camera. It's right here at the end. And the way you remove the solder, it's just a little bit of solder on 2 pads that connects them. And you take a needle nose soldering iron, clean it off, and just touch it to that. And what will happen is the solder will jump onto the soldering iron, wipe it off on a wet rag or sponge, touch this again, and you do that a couple of times, most of the solder will just come off and the connection will be broken, and now you can connect your own LEDs. It's not the way the math works on the LEDs. You can't have your LEDs and this light on at the same time. You could have one scenario, but for the most part you'll want to disconnect it anyway, because you don't want the light blinking inside the car while you have the LEDs on the back of the car, and we'll show you that when we do an installation. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to adjust. First, you want to turn on that rear light. So 3 pushes turns the light on. 1, 2, 3, and there it is. And we get some feedback back here. Now it's also in flashing mode. Flashing mode is 4 pushes, and if I want to turn it off, I just press it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will stay on, and I get flashing on the blue indicator light over here to tell me that that's all worked. So turning the red light on and turning it on and off for flashing mode is a toggle. So 3 pushes turns it on, 3 pushes turns it off, 4 pushes makes the flasher go, 4 pushes makes the flasher stop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we'll get the flasher back okay? And it blinks about once every, it's a cycle, is a 1 second cycle. All right, so let's put it on, take it out of blinking mode because we want to adjust the brightness of the rear light. It looks a little bright to me. That's a little bit different. It's almost the same as adjusting the main lights, but if we push 1, we'll get the main lights. What you do is you're going to push the button twice and wait for the blue light here to blink twice, and then press the button as we were doing with the main light. So 1, 2, the blue light blinked, and so now I'm going to press it. Now it's going in the up direction. All right, so I want it to reduce the amount of light. So I do the same sequence again, 1, 2, wait for this to blink, and then press it, and it will go down. You have about 2 seconds after the blue light blinks. You can see it all the way down there. It's pretty dim right now. You have 2 seconds after the blue light blinks to move back over and press the button. 1, 2, and then let's adjust it up a little bit, probably about there. All right, so there's a couple of other adjustments. We saw when we were doing push buttons that the blue light blinks. So when you're using the button to configure, the blue light will always blink. But there is a mode when you may get the board and the light is on all the time, and you can do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 pushes turns the blue light on. Now the reason you would want to do that is when you're configuring the wheel pickups, whether you're connecting to a Kato which already has the wheel pickups but just making sure the wire is right, or if you're using the floating brass strips, knowing that you've got power to the board, and the lights, maybe the lights aren't on for some reason, but this blue light will let you know that there's power to the board and the microprocessor is operating. All right, you do your configurations and all of that. And by the way, watch what happens when we want to adjust the brightness of the red LED. I'm going to press this twice, and this will blink off twice, and then we can adjust it down or up as we want. So 1, 2, blinks off. We can adjust it up a little bit. All right, so now we've finished configuring. We're going to turn the blue light off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the blue light will go off. And now we're ready to play with our system and adjust the lights. Okay, and let's turn the flasher back on. Let's say that this is the last car in a long train and we have 2 lights on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we have the flashing light, and all of that will be connected up with the power. Now the last thing to point out here is we have 4 super caps on this board. So that really helps with wheels going over dirty track and so forth. The board is very reliable, and the flicker control with the super caps is just great. So there it is. It's really simple. No DCC anywhere to be seen in this thing. Just hook this up to the 2 rails. You don't have to worry about polarity because this already takes that into account. And so this is the new Model Train Technology DC board. There are 2 sizes. There's this 144 millimeters, and there's a one that's 124 millimeters, a little bit shorter, that we use in baggage cars and other circumstances. So between those 2 cars, what we found in all the N scale that we've done, hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of cars, these are the 2 optimum sizes. The board is 11.5 millimeters wide, and it's about a little over 2 millimeters thick. The board's 1 millimeter, and most of the components are about 1 millimeter, maybe a little bit more. So really easy. We're going to show you an implementation or installation of the light board in the Milwaukee Road Hiawatha car set the customer sent us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's the introduction to the the DC light board from Model Train Technology.